watching Niagara Pro Tips. In this video, we're going to cover Niagara Remote. Niagara Remote is a secure way to connect to Niagara stations without any additional hardware. The connection is made via a reverse proxy over the standard port 443. So we're going to start here in our cloud portal, specifically in my list of labs, my Minnesota labs here. And the station we're going to take a look at is the Minneapolis lab station. So right here is the the remote button. When you click on that, it'll open another tab, and it'll take us to our login page. Now, the login page you should see here is going to be looking pretty familiar. And the reason for that is that a Niagara Remote connection, while it's done via port 443 with a reverse proxy, once you're actually connected, the user experience is exactly the same as if you were local on the network along with the Jace or with the station, and you opened a browser and connected that way. And what that means is that you'll have all the same tools as you would if you were connecting, via browser locally, including, being able to open a driver manager, right, adding backnet devices, things like that, and also web wire sheets, right? Web wire sheets are usable through here. Beyond that, the 4.15 release will be the PX editor, will be the web PX editor. That'll make the Niagara Remote tool even more powerful than it already is. And I'm going to assume that all of you, if you're watching this video, you're pretty familiar with the experience, the web views experience, so I'm not going to delve too much into that. But one thing I do want to point out to you all is over here is the host header validation. Now I'm in the web service. Here I'm connected to the same station in Workbench. In the web service, right here is the host header validation settings. We're going to set that to true. When I set that to true, I'm going to jump back over here to the browser, and you'll see that there's an invalid host header error, error 400, right? And that's because we have now said to the station, hey, you need to confirm that the host header is what it says it is. And because there is not a valid host header list given, it said, nope, not touching that. And so in order to add this to that, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to copy out this string right here. This is the system id.remote.niagara-cloud.com. I'm going to copy that, copy it, and then I'm going to go over to Workbench here, and right below the validate host header dropdown is the valid host headers list. I'm going to drop that there and then save it. Now, if you have multiple valid host headers, there could be some circumstances where that would be. You can write this out as a comma-separated list. However, you cannot do a wildcard, and you can't do other special characters beyond the comma, a period, or a dash, or sorry, a hyphen. So now that that's saved, we'll go back over here, and we can refresh this. And there we're back up and running. Thank you. Before we finish, there's a couple of things I would like to return to. The first is going to be touching on why host header validation. So starting from where we were, let's go ahead and take a look over at Workbench. I have the security dashboard here open. Now, please forgive the number of alerts and warnings here. This station is a test environment, so it's far from perfect. But specifically, let's take a look at the web service here. When we open this up, you can see in here that it says the host header validation is enabled. So this is a place that you can go to check to see the status of not just the host header validation, but the other portions of the web service and other security measures throughout the station as well. What it is the host header if we just take a look here, the host header is used to generate certain redirects and URLs turning on validation, and setting a list of allowed. That's what we did previously. Values for the host header ensures that these URLs are being constructed with known secure values. So what you're avoiding is you're avoiding host header injection. What host header injection is something that you can certainly dive pretty deep into reading, and a resource for that is owasp.org. This page here specifically, testing for host header injection, shows you how to test and does a pretty good job of summarizing what it is and why you would want to avoid it. So that's something that I would certainly encourage you to dig into and see if you can, grasp a little bit more strongly and why it's important. And then secondly, we're going to go back over here to Workbench, taking a look at the Cloud Connection Service. Earlier, I said repeatedly about the connection being over port 443, and that what that is that the port is held open so that there can be communication from the station up to NCS and from NCS down to the station. And if you take a look in I'm in the AX property sheet of the Cloud Connection Service here. If you open up the transports and then the Niagara Remote transport channel, you can see here that what the status of it is. It's also where you can configure retry interval, things of that matter. And you can see that the status of mine is okay. The authenticator ID is through the federated identity, and then you can see that it is connected. So if you're having an issue with connections, this would be one of the first steps of troubleshooting, would be taking a look under the transport channels.